Okay, into now the top half of the table. Top 10. My 10th place is going to be Leicester.
Okay.
This is the one I just changed.
Yep.
I had them slightly higher. I think you're right. I think actually, even though on paper, let's say for argument's sake that they don't lose Fofana, which I don't think they will. I don't think he's going to go.
No, I don't think so.
I would be stunned if they let Maddison go to Newcastle. Newcastle are going to be a rival this year to Leicester as well, so that doesn't make sense to me unless the money is right and they can't turn it down. And
it's very late to be replacing these kind of players as well.
Someone as big as Maddison it is, I mean, Vardy is being actually linked with a couple of teams. Chelsea, Man United are sort of linked. Again, don't see that happening at all. If they can keep that first 11 fit, you've still got players around that like Iheanacho. You've got who's the other? Patson Daka. Yeah. So they've got some exciting attacking players. My issue is that we all know around football that you need to make additions to your squad, if for no other reason, is just to keep it fresh and keep fresh impetus and motivation and new blood in that team. To not have a single new player in that team is a real risk for Rodgers this season, because it could go stale. And as you rightly say, 1 or 2 injuries in key positions. We saw last season with Leicester how much they struggled. They had some real defensive issues last year with Johnny Evans and Fofana missing large parts of the season. Vardy missed large parts of the season. They never really replaced his goals. You saw their change of fortune all of a sudden when he came back, how much of a difference he still makes at his age. So, yeah. I think 10th is about as bang average as I can make Leicester. But again, it could go either way with them.
Yeah. So I've got Wolves at number 10. I think the Jimenez injury could have a big impact on their start to the season. They've got quite good fixtures, so that might help them out. But I don't know with Wolves. At one point, they were obviously in Europe quite comfortably, but the last season or two, they've just started to drop down to that almost.
There's only so many
top
times
10 team rather than.
For me, with Wolves, it almost like the goals that they score, they rely on mistakes or individual moments of brilliance. They don't seem to have the ability to score those good team goals.
They're another sort of Brighton where they're so good defensively. They keep a lot of clean sheets, but a lot of their games are like 1-0 wins and stuff like that. It
just feels like they always rely on that individual piece of magic from someone like Ruben Neves or Podence or Neto or Traore now that he's back. It feels like they don't score many sort of average goals, if that makes sense.
Number 9?
Yep, moving on to number 9 now.
So I've got Newcastle at number 9.
Yep.
Obviously, still a long way to go in the transfer window, so things could change. But at the moment, I don't think they've maybe strengthened quite how they were hoping to.
And also how we were expecting them to as well.
Obviously, expectations were a bit all over the place with fans compared to the neutral fan. But,
yeah, absolutely.
I think they've been smart again. I think they've maybe just struggled with clubs knowing that they've got money to splash.
Possibly so. We actually haven't heard that many sort of rumours about, apart from the Maddison link in the last couple of days. I think they were after that Ekitike again I can't remember, was he at Rennes in France?
Yeah,
I think he was, and he ended up PSG.
In the end,
So, they've had 1 or 2 links, but, look at some of the other clubs that are being linked with every Tom, Dick and Harry. Surprisingly so, with Newcastle, with the amount of money they have available, you'd think there'd be a journalist's wet dream because you could just basically make up any story that you wanted. So,
but with Newcastle, obviously, it's a rebuild and it's a project. So I think that I assume they would take 9th place. So that would be a good position.
Yeah. Incidentally, my 9th is also Newcastle.
Okay.
Like you, I think 9th represents progress. And I think you're right. I think the key word here is smart. And I think Newcastle have been very, very smart so far with not only their signings, but also managing to also keep expectations in check. Nobody I'm hearing is talking about Newcastle making a run at Europe or anything like that. I think everyone's expecting them to just to progress slowly, which I think is absolutely right. It keeps everybody kind of level and grounded. I like the signings they have made. I think Sven Botman's going to be a good signing for them. 6'7", he's going to score. He's going to be a real threat at set pieces for obvious reasons. Nick Pope coming in is a good signing. Very good goalkeeper, as we know. And obviously, Kieran Trippier did miss a little bit of last season with injury, so him coming back in is good. And I think they've also made Matt Targett a permanent move now as well. I think that the fact that they've not done a huge amount of business might also represent a little bit of trust and belief from Howe that actually perhaps he inherited a better squad than he thought. You know, he got such a tune out of people like Joe Linton and John Joe Shelby. Obviously, he gradually brought Guimaraes into the team, and he turned out to be a really, really good addition.
Obviously, Callum Wilson's now fit again, so
for how long?
Fit.
So I think for me, the only position, and they still got Chris Wood as well. For me, the only position they really could do with properly strengthening would be probably a wide player. Miggy Almiron, I know he's a fan favourite. I know he works so hard for the cause, but his quality does let him down. His end product does let him down.
Like 6 goals. He was their highest scorer in pre-season.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you know, maybe he will. You know, this will be a season then. I'm one of the few people who I'm not sure Alan St. Maximin is a long-term player for Newcastle.
I really enjoy watching him. I think as a neutral, he's fun to watch. As a Newcastle, I've said it a few times. As a Newcastle fan, it's probably very frustrating.
I feel like he's still in that mode of where Newcastle were poor under Bruce, and he hasn't been able to get out of that mindset that he doesn't need to do it on his own anymore.
It reminds me a bit of Rashford, actually. Rashford likes to shoot from stupid places instead of passing.
But it's not just that. I mean, it's the runs he makes. It's almost like every time he gets the ball, he's got a bit of the Adama Traore's about him, that he feels like because he's quick and he's got quick feet and he can do a trick or two, that he feels like he has to do it every single time he gets the ball. When he doesn't need to. He's got some really good players around him now who are banging form. He doesn't need to do it all himself, and actually he would probably get more goals and more assists if he was a bit more of a team player. So, you know, maybe something to keep an eye on with him. If he really starts showing signs of being unable to shake that selfishness out of him, might find that Eddie Howe loses a bit of patience with him, because he might be the sort of player that stifles a bit of progress for them, which is a shame because under there's clearly a very good player in there. I think they just need to try and get a tune out of him. So yeah, 9th place for Newcastle. Moving on to 8th place now. I've gone for Aston Villa. Little bit of a wild card here because last season I think expectations were quite high with the players they brought in. They really didn't live up to that. So there is a danger that we're doing the same thing again, that it's a bit of Groundhog Day here. But we've had a good pre-season. Leon Bailey, last year's signing, has been flying in pre-season. They've obviously got Coutinho in on a permanent. They've got one or two other players. Who was the central midfielder? I can't remember what his name is. Kamara, yeah. He's going to be a good signing, I think. So I think this is a bit of a make or break season for Gerrard. Yeah. I think you could afford him a little bit of leeway in the first season to have a bit of what was an underwhelming season in the end for Villa. But with the players he's now got at his disposal and the quality of that squad, I think that he has to be aiming minimum top half, absolute minimum for me. Yeah. And I think if they can get a run of form together, they could just be an outside bet for knocking on that Europa League door if they can get things and get going.
I've also gone for Aston Villa at 8th. Okay. You'll be happy to hear.
Well, yeah, I think we all know who's going 7th then, don't
we? So. I think they've signed really well again. They've signed that Diego Carlos, I think his name is, as well, at centre-back. Yep.
Interestingly, they've dropped Tyrone Mings as captain as well, which is quite a big thing. Yeah. Do we know who they've given it to? They did say, didn't they?
Josh McGinn.
Yes, John McGinn.
John McGinn, sorry. Yeah. So I think they've definitely strengthened on top of last season, which is always what you want each season. So I did think they'd do really well last season, and they didn't. So it could go again either way. But I do think they look really good in pre-season. So I think they could be one to watch this season.
Yeah, definitely. 7th then.
So I have gone for West Ham. I think they're better than the teams below them. I don't know if they're better than the teams above them, which is why they are in that position.
I think that's quite a good analogy.
That sounds like a Michael Owen quote, I know. But, but yeah, that is my reasoning behind that. I mean, I think the only team they could potentially swap with is United. Yeah. Which I've maybe given away my 6th place. But yeah, I think West Ham will comfortably get Europa Conference again next season.
Yeah, I think I've also gone West Ham for 7th. A bit like you, I looked at the teams below that. I looked, which teams realistically do I think are going to be maintaining a push for Europe this season? And outside of Villa, maybe Newcastle, maybe Leicester as well if they get themselves going. there's nobody that I can really say that I think is going to be there or thereabouts. I don't think Wolves are going to be anywhere near it this year.
Yeah.
Brighton were dancing around it for the first half of the season. I don't think they're going to either. So I do think that it's, on paper anyway, it's West Ham's to lose. We've had a very emotionally up and down transfer window so far. We finally got that striker in, Gianluca Scamacca. For me, jury is still out on whether he's going to be a success, just because, as I said before, I see too many similarities with Haller. We are still going after other signings. Kostic from Frankfurt would be a good signing. We're still going after Amadou. What's his name? I don't know what his freaking name is. Diallo?
What? Is in a centre back?
No, he's a central midfielder. I can't remember what his damn name is. It's escaped me. But he's a player that is playing at Lille currently in central midfield. He's a youngster. Now we're in deep negotiations with him. Apparently he wants to come. 6'5", powerhouse. Amadou something? Yeah, whatever it is. But people listening will probably know who I'm talking about. And yeah, if he comes in as well as Kostic, maybe if we could sneak in another winger, I think we're actually on the cusp of having a very, very good transfer window. If we weren't to sign anyone from this point forward, which I think is unlikely, then I would probably say it's a mediocre window. We have at least signed another centre-back, although he's got himself injured. We've signed another striker. Those were the two big priority areas, and we've also signed another central midfielder in Flynn Downs. So I think we've had an okay window so far, but we still need more depth and we need more quality. So if West Ham don't sign anybody from this point forward, 7th is definitely not a guarantee for me. If we get those additional pieces of quality in, I think not only will we be very, very likely to get that 7th place, I think we will push United for the 6th place, but equally I can see us having another good European Cup run as well in the Conference League this year. So excellent. On to 6th place. I don't think any prizes for guessing who both of us are going to go for here. Mine is United. I think that whilst there are a lot of positive signs for United at the moment, there's still noises around this club that are still pointing towards things that aren't quite right still. The latest, of course, is this United statement where they said they allowed Ronaldo to leave after the friendly, and then Ten Hag said absolutely not. Are the club going above and over Ten Hag's head already with things like that, and also the Henderson loan move? Are they going over there? Because I think Ten Hag didn't have a say in Henderson going either. No. So there's still signs here that things are not quite right at boardroom level, which is probably, we knew that was going to happen. We didn't think it was suddenly going to be fixed overnight. But on the pitch, there are signs of improvement. Now, the Ronaldo thing has still got to be sorted and how he comes back into the team. I would imagine he is going to stay. United have performed quite well in pre-season without him. I still think there's going to be, this first season, I think we need to temper expectations. I think there's going to be some fantastic moments from United. I think they're going to have some great moments, United, this season at times, but I still think they're going to have some really bad games as well. I think there's going to be a lot of hit and miss stuff this season for United.
Yeah, obviously I've also gone for United at 6th. I think I'm just mainly looking at it as if every team above us has massively improved or has improved much more than we have. I really don't think we've improved them. I mean, we've signed a left back who I'm sure will rotate in and out, but I don't know if he's massively better than Luke Shaw. I haven't really seen anything of him yet. Yeah. We've signed a centre back who will hopefully be good and will hopefully push. I'm hoping he's going to be a starter, but he is obviously like 5'9", so it'll be interesting to see with how he copes in the Premier League. And we've signed Christian Eriksen, which I think is a great signing.
That's a fantastic signing.
I just don't know where he fits in unless he's going to be pushing someone like Bruno out of the team.
Well, I mean, I did hear an interesting thing the other day. They were talking about whether actually Ronaldo not being around as much actually will help Bruno, because Bruno was quite stifled last year. I mean, I know he wasn't the only one to underperform last season, but he was fantastic for United in the first 18 months, and he had a pretty poor season and got away with it, I think, last season. So I wonder if maybe he was trying to be that provider to Ronaldo to get all his goals, And if this season, if Ronaldo's not there, maybe it can just give him a bit more freedom again to perhaps be that old Fernandes.
I mean, I don't know what's happening with the whole De Jong saga. I've never seen a club be so stubborn about getting a player that doesn't want to join the club.
No, it's incredible.
So we'll have to see. But I think last season we were close to Champions League, but we fell away towards the end. This season, I think there could be a big gulf.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're fifth.
So I've gone for Arsenal fifth. They've massively strengthened this season. I think they've been so good in the transfer market. Arteta's really building a force at Arsenal.
Yeah.
They've definitely strengthened in areas that needed strengthening. I think Gabriel Jesus could be an absolute steal. I never really rated him all that much at City, but having seen him at pre-season, he looks unbelievable. But again, I just think the teams above them that I haven't mentioned yet are slightly stronger and will finish stronger.
Yeah. I am going to go... I'm going to be a bit different. I'm going to go fifth place is Chelsea this year. Couple of reasons. One is that they do have a bit of an ageing side. You know, their defensive line is outside of Reece James is getting on a bit. You know, if their back three, as we suspect it might be, is going to be Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Koulibaly, all of them are the wrong side of 30 comfortably. I still don't see a goal scorer in that team. I think they drew, 11 games last year? I know they did score a lot of goals, but they drew 11 games, which shows to me they didn't kill teams off, and they did have a couple of very large wins. They beat Norwich 7-0 and Southampton 7-0 as well. So, you know, that's 14 goals in 2 games all of a sudden. So when they get it right, obviously it does click really well. Yeah. They've had a very mixed pre-season so far. Sterling, I think, is a good signing, but he's never scored more than, I think, 17 or 18 goals in a season. Will he even get that at Chelsea? Not sure. Timo Werner is being linked with a move away quite seriously, which leaves only Kai Havertz as your number 9, or Brozier potentially. So those are the reasons I think they might just miss out on that top 4. But it's going to be close, I think. But I think that they're going to miss out. Fourth place, I'm going for Arsenal.
You just swapped them 2 rounds.
Yes, I have. Yeah. I think that they signed really, really well. They've been flying in pre-season. Gabriel Jesus, I think this really could be a properly breakout season for him. He doesn't like being the main man. He's admitted to saying that himself, but he's going to be. He's not got a choice. He's not got a choice in the matter. He's going to be the main man.
I think with Saka and Martinelli either side of him as well will be very good.
Yeah, and you've still got Nketiah. You've got Odegaard feeding him from behind. Smith Rowe. You know, you've got a really exciting team at Arsenal. If I'm an Arsenal fan right now, I'm going into the season with a bit of quiet optimism, I think. I know we ridicule Arsenal fans because of AFTV and that sort of thing, but I think that Arteta has quietly built a very good-looking squad there. And he has also the first manager in God knows how long that seems to have fixed their defence as well.
Yeah.
So, I think Arsenal could be in for a good season. The only thing that's going to catch them out is consistency. Because that's where they struggled last year. Yeah.
See, that is part of the reason I've gone for Chelsea 4th, because I feel like Arteta's still a young and inexperienced manager.
I mean, this is his 3rd season now.
Yeah.
With Arsenal, so...
Which is inexperienced.
No, I know, but he's familiar enough now with the club, with his own tactics, what he's trying to get across. He's had the core of the players that he's got. He's now worked with for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, but I think when you look at managers like Klopp and Guardiola, they know how to see out games. And like Tuchel, I think as obviously he won the Champions League 2 seasons, not last season, the season before, and he knows how to win games. So I just think, and especially Chelsea, the way they operate might be a little bit different now with a new owner, but if a manager's not doing well, they're gone. There's no second guessing. So if Chelsea aren't performing, they'll get a new manager straight in. They'll probably splash the cash to help out the new manager. So for that reason, I think Chelsea, one way or another, will get Champions League next season.
Yeah.
And that is why I've put them for Arsenal.
And who have you gone for 3rd?
So I've gone for... I mean, obviously, I don't think there's any separating the top 2.
No, it's just a case of which way round you've got on, isn't it?
So I've gone for Spurs 3rd. I think Chelsea they've done their business so early, Spurs, and getting Basuma in for 25 million, I think, was an absolute steal.
Yeah. Possibly one of the best bits of business so far in the transfer window.
They've still got Kulusevski. Richarlison, I think, is a great rotation option. I don't like the bloke, but I think he's a good player. I'm not going to go through all their signings, but they've made some really good signings. And I think with Conte, a full season under Conte, he's obviously had his pre-season. He sort of knows his team now. With Son and Harry Kane, I didn't even mention Harry Kane, how he was obviously a bit crap last season.
Yeah, he didn't turn out till Christmas.
Bluntly, yeah. I'm assuming he'll be focused and raring to go this season. And pre-season, he's been very good. So I think with him and Son, firing on both ends, they could really make a go for it this season. Yeah,
I've also gone Spurs for third. I think there's a couple of other things that made me think that Spurs are going to be really strong this year. It's they seem to have got a mix of youth and experience really good. The Eric Dyer has quietly turned into quite an astute centre-back. Obviously, one of those players that we ridiculed a little bit when he was with England, almost in a similar way that we do, not to the same extent, but with Harry Maguire, that he had that bit about that he was sort of you'd love to hate him type thing. But he's turned into a really quite competent centre-back. Harry Kane is massive. I mean, to have a fully fit firing Harry Kane from day one is huge for Spurs. We know how many goals he scores. We know how he works with Son. Kulusevski finally appears to be that third piece in the puzzle they've been looking for years. They've gone through a lot of players to get that third that third striker. They've gone through Lamela, Dele Alli at one point. They've had Bergwijn, they've had Lucas Moura, who's obviously in and out of the team still. Ali Gill, was it? Gill?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he didn't last very long, and he's off. He's on loan somewhere, I think. So, yeah, I think put all of that together. Perisic coming in as well, with Conte at the helm. I think they're going to have a very good season. I hate to say it because I'm a West Ham fan, but I genuinely think Spurs could have a fantastic season. This, for me, again, the meme is how many trophies Spurs haven't won. This, for me, is their best opportunity this season. With the squad they've got, they absolutely have to target a trophy. Now, their most likely source of that is going to be obviously a domestic trophy. FA Cup would be preferable. League Cup, I don't think they'd care which, but I think they'd go FA Cup if you gave them the choice. I think they could go deep in the Champions League as well. So yeah, great season ahead for Spurs, I think. Okay, two left. We probably can just reveal both at the same time because obviously it just leaves one if we say now. I've gone for the same as last year: Liverpool second and City to win. It's interesting because there is still there is a big narrative around at the moment between Haaland and Nunez. Big price tags, especially for Nunez. Bigger expectations, though, probably with Haaland compared to Nunez, despite the price tag difference. I'm not convinced. I'm still not convinced about Haaland in that City system. You said on the podcast that they might be changing the system to try and suit him. That's risky. It's a system that's served them very, very well for the last few years. Changing it because of one player is risky. But yeah, I think Liverpool's front three, I think Grealish could have a really big year. He needs to have a big year for City. And they've just got this ability just to grind out games, City, haven't they? I mean, I ridiculed them last season because for not having that number 9 central striker, and they still scored a plethora of goals and won the league, and probably should have been in the Champions League final as well. So, yeah, I think... I think Liverpool are going to have a very strong season again. I mean, Klopp he's a serial winner in the same way that Guardiola is. I just think that Liverpool still, even though we're talking incredibly tiny margins here, 1 point last season, 1 point a couple of seasons before that, I think that Liverpool, when you look at it right now, are more, they're going to drop more points than City will. I think they're more susceptible to a draw here and there than City will be. And I think that's what's going to do them again. But I mean, they're so close. They're so competitive. What they've done this in the last 5 years to the Premier League is amazing. And I think even though I think the gap between the top two and the rest is going to be closer this year, I still think there's going to be a bit of a gap. But it could be a coin toss for top two this year.
Yeah, I've also gone Liverpool second and City first. I think they'll be button heads the entire season and probably rotating quite a bit, but I think they'll be miles ahead of third place as well. I think they're just massive titans. They're almost like the Real Madrid and Barcelona of Premier League now. Unfortunate, but it is good to see them go head to head each season.
Yeah, I mean, you say that obviously that there's a danger that you turn into that sort of stereotype Scottish or Spanish league where you got the top two, but you know the other teams, whilst there's quite a gap, those teams below them, their quality is so much higher than the quality of the third to sixth in La Liga and in Scotland and in the other leagues as well. So, right, well, there we go. That was our Premier League table predictions. Now, of course, this is, as we said before, the transfer window finishes in 3.5 weeks' time. Things could change. We might do a video at the back end of August just to review the transfer windows of everybody and just maybe make a tweak or two to our league, depending on what we want to do, unless we just decide, you know what, screw it, we'll go with it and see how we end up at the end of the season. It is only a bit of fun at the end of the day. If you guys have a different opinion, let us know in the comments below. Do you think our predictions are about right? Do you think we've got some, you know, way wide of the mark? Do you think we've got them all nailed on? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you very much for staying with us this long. It's been a bit of a longer video, and we'll see you all very soon.
Bye.